The name should mostly be called Fucking Around, Jackson. This is Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. We got the Stinker Madness. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi, Jackie. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
How's Action Jackson?
He should have been Melvin Jackson.
Freddie Jackson.
Jermaine Jackson. But Jermaine Jackson can really play the fucking bass.
Yeah, he probably...
He should have been called almost Action Jackson.
Kinda Action Jackson?
Yeah.
Somewhat Action Jackson?
I'm doing the bare minimum to get the name Action Jackson.
That is absolutely it. Ding, ding, ding. He's Jennifer Aniston working at TGIF doing the bare minimum flair.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I like all the music that was the Herbie Hancock throughout the whole movie. Like, it was as bad 80s... What do you call that? R&B? Is that genre?
I thought it was
R&B?
like 80s pop.
Well, I don't know what Herbie Hancock is.
Is it
Motown?
Yeah, I think it's R&B.
I just call that annoying.
But Herbie Hancock is jazz, so it's like a fusion. It was like an R&B jazz fusion
80s,
thing.
shitty 80s jazz R&B fusion.
Something.
Well, looky here. I prepared a one-paragraph synopsis of what I thought
we're not
this
doing
movie
that
was
yet.
about.
We're doing that at the end of the show. So you hold on.
But shouldn't we give our listeners
a
little piece of the Action
because
Jackson?
hopefully they would have seen this film by now, and also I want them to pick up some of the finer plot points that we get into before we all confuse everybody and go, what the fuck was this movie actually about?
Damn.
Because we need to get our thinking caps on for this one, because decoding the message sent by Action Jackson is going... I mean, the team that broke the Nazi code couldn't do this.
No, the Navajo...
No.
The Navajo...
No,
the
Talk
Navajo
about the
created
world's worst
That was
fucking
the Wind
detective
Talkers.
The
ever.
Wind Talkers, right.
Yeah,
right,
it was the British team of women that decoded the Nazi code.
You know, Action Jackson's supposed to be a badass, but, I kind of thought he was kind of a shit detective throughout this whole movie. It was like...
He was a detective?
The old man at the front desk knew more than he did.
Everybody knew more than he did.
Yeah, and he was like, I gotta go figure some shit out. You wait here, hunky bitch. And then...
Except he wasn't doing that, because it was...
No.
I think that was one of the finer points of the movie.
There was no sass from Action Jackson.
He was a Harvard-educated lawyer, and so was the cop that was Biff Tanner's partner. He was also very
Super
eloquent.
Smart. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a really good saying here. Action Jackson was like buying the most expensive firework at the fireworks stand and being all kinds of juffed that it was gonna like...
Juffed?
Yeah, that's a new word. Like, that it was gonna blow your mind, and then it just goes... And then that's it. It doesn't even catch on fire.
It's that 3 foot tall fountain that you're like, oh, this is gonna be it, and then it just shoots sparks out of the top for like 35 seconds. Like, why is it so big?
That was $35 for two sparklers.
You're absolutely right, because you should know going into Action Jackson. We were warned about Action Jackson multiple times. Actually, for 20 years we were warned about Action Jackson. And we were warned about Action Jackson when we were children, too.
I'd never heard of this
Michael
movie.
Jackson. Oh, I'm doing terrible with my jokes. I had a joke and I screwed it up. Action Jackson, never mind. I like the beginning of the movie, though. The very first
you
scene
get the Hollywood Rounders,
hot.
And then the ninja guys come in.
They punched that woman in the face. I was thinking
through a glass.
Yeah, I was thinking at that point, like, this is going to be an action movie, and I was all kinds of excited. Like, they just punched some lady right in the face, and I recognize her because she's
they don't even like.
She's in Scrooged.
First they get on the roof, which you're to assume that they're either in the floor above this discussion of. How are our accounts? Are we above ROI this
He was
month?
dictating a letter, and she was being a huge bitch about it. Because he was like, at the end of the dictation, he's like, thank you, and he was about to say his own name, and he's like, they know who it's from.
Gosh,
I know who to put it from.
Jeez.
She's like, that's a new sentence. I should put a period there.
And then they keep hearing shit on the ceiling.
Because she's supposed to have a date, and he's like, is your date Santa Claus? And even meanwhile, he's trying to put the moves on her, he's all rubbing her back and shit.
Oh, yeah,
He's like, we can stay here, and then he turns on a boxing match with Mr. T. Like, that is...
I needed to get a closer look at that to see if that was actually from Rocky.
Might have been.
There was a lot of weird little things in this movie that if you weren't paying attention, you did not see them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Legs in a bathtub.
Legs in a bathtub.
In the middle of a bar.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a dive bar.
I missed
that.
Oh, you didn't see the legs in the bathtub at the dive bar?
No.
Huh.
Yeah, there was like this bathtub and it was all lighted and you see these mannequin legs in the back of it. It was like, what?
I kind of wonder, like, about that because...
Like maybe they got some free mannequins?
No, because obviously it was an actual bar. Like, you don't, that's not a stage. That they shoot that at a bar.
Versus whatever, Jerry's bar, which was just the lobby of the Best Western.
Right.
That was awesome. Hey, they put in some neon lights to make it look authentic, Sam.
Yeah. Well, what's that place about the Red Lion that we watch the football games at sometimes when there's nowhere else to go? It was about like that.
Kinda, yeah.
It was like the bar at a Red Lion.
Yeah, very, like, usually there's people, like, maybe 3 tables there of people drinking some...
Yeah.
Nobody's there to see a lady sing songs about getting her clothes ripped off.
When she's wearing clothes that don't need to get ripped off because
Don't
they're not
exist.
doing their job.
There's nothing to the imagination on that outfit. I'm like, I can see her boobies.
Well, the fun thing, should we get into the boob time
I was
stats?
because before the opening scene where the ninjas come in, probably the best part of the movie is there's a real guy on fire that takes a 10-foot fall through Hollywood glass.
Exploded. I like that it's the ninjas fuck around with the guy for about 10 minutes, like disappearing in and out of things, and he's
they
also...
didn't screw around with the secretary. They just came through the window and punched her
through
right
a window.
in the face.
Now she's dead.
Yeah.
He's got unlimited ammo in his gun, which is fun.
He fired 14 times out of a Beretta.
I think you were... I wanted to rewind.
Yeah, a 9-bullet.
Count. I seriously think it was
It's
in
a
the
9-shot gun if it's got the longer clip.
I think it was in the 20s that he fired.
Yeah, he set a lot of lines.
And he
shot that
at
stupid
everything.
desk like 15 times.
He shot the desk a lot. And then he shot the TV a lot. And then he shot the thing that kind of looked like a person a lot, but we never figured out what that was.
And then when he sees a person, he doesn't shoot them at all.
He does not. He just goes, oh! But, yeah, and then they, like, toy with him. They throw a knife through his hand and kick him through the door. And then he's like, no, don't kill me. And then they fucking explode him.
With a grenade launcher, a canister launcher.
From 60 stories up, he falls all the way down.
And at first you're thinking, what a cool effect with a mannequin. And then the mannequin starts flailing, and you're like, that's a person!
The big fall was a dummy.
Yeah, the big fall was a dummy.
But there was still like a 10, 15-foot fall through Hollywood glass.
A man completely...
A man, and once he starts kicking around, you're like, that guy is on fire falling.
Yeah, which is kind of... interesting, because usually when you see the fire guys, the guys that are on fire, they wear that like gel on their face and stuff that keeps it off of their face. That guy looked like he was engulfed in flames.
Yeah, but I think that he could have like one of those burlap Teflon.
Yeah.
He's wearing a Teflon hood or whatever. And that was the other thing I was thinking, because you never see him hit. So I'm guessing it was a pool fall too, to where 2 for 1. He falls on fire and then lands in the water to put himself out. But then they got to get him out of there fast so that he can breathe. So, I mean, it's still a dangerous stunt.
And you have to still stop, drop, and roll after that, I've heard, according to Bert.
Even if you go into the pool?
If it's the methane, water's not going to do it. You won't even see that you're on fire. You still have to stop, drop, and roll afterwards. So that's interesting. The first time we see Action Jackson, he's he's intimidating bad guys without doing anything.
No, Biff, the guy from Back to the Future,
Explains,
and his partner.
Right.
Bring in
the first time you actually see Action Jackson, he's doing fuck all.
He's doing paperwork. Because that little turd, breaks the coffee pot onto his desk, and then he stands up. And the kid's like, I just shit myself!
Meanwhile, they bring that guy in, so he tries to do a snatch on a purse. The lady beats the living shit out of him.
Right.
And then they're going to bring him in afterwards. Most cops are going to be
like... She looked like a man. She was quite mannish.
Yeah, most cops are going to be like, okay, this isn't the thing for you. Because you can't bring him in for robbery at that point. You have to bring him in for petty assault. So you're writing him a ticket. So you don't even need to bring him in. But they're bringing him in when they could be like, look, this is obvious that you're not going to be a career criminal.
Well, you should
think
think
about
town. They
something
got to
else.
teach them a lesson.
But he was
know,
all about
a lesson about Action Jackson.
Detroit
Yeah.
in the 80s had no other crime to speak of other than purse snatchings with new people.
and
in town.
ninjas.
And but the
We
cops
knew about
aren't
the
taking
ninjas in the
the cops
first
aren't
thing.
taking down the ninjas. Only that's reserved for Action Jackson-esque level people, not beat cops. Beat cops don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, I mean, really, the movie frames Detroit as not that. It's sort of a safe town.
It's kind of a silly town.
And, like, it's not the same Detroit as RoboCop.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Like, you could, do whatever you want. You could like post up and like breakdance if you wanted to, like just cardboard wherever.
I didn't see any
and
breakdancing
do
in this
some
movie.
of that.
Or even
I think there was a breakdancing themed.
the opening of Beverly Hills.
like
Isn't the opening of the original Beverly Hills Cop actually shot in Detroit?
yes,
That is a tough city.
that is a tough city.
When you're watching Beverly Hills Cop, you're like, this is a place I don't want to go.
I do not want to go there. I do not want to. But the
I was gonna take a
kid's
job
swinging
there.
his arms. He's jazzing out the whole time, walking up and down the street, checking out ladies. Hey, babies! And stealing purses. And
He was a
he's
Coca-Cola
strutting.
ad.
He's strutting the whole time. The whole time he's strutting. Like, I'm in the fucking city. Woo! Check me out. I could just breakdance at any time. Not
He
get
doesn't.
shot by wearing Coca-Cola and by Pepsi fans.
Yeah.
Pepsi fans are notorious murderers in Detroit.
Oh yeah,
Hey, you never
I've heard that too.
never wear a Coke shirt in Detroit.
Well, anyway, the first time we see Action Jackson, the poor kid gets all the stories, and then he spills some coffee on Action Jackson's phone book or something. It's yellow.
He's telling Domino's.
Like he was in the yellow pages, is what
Right.
it looked like. And he kind of shakes his hands off, and he actually just looks like a librarian who's moderately upset that his phone book has been ruined. But he knows that it's a phone book. There's 10 more outside that he didn't bring in because the cocksuckers just leave phone books at your house all the time.
He's incredibly polite. Like he goes into his armbruster,
Armbruster.
Armbuster.
Earl Armbruster.
Bill Duke's office.
Yeah, head of the
And
police.
He's like, man, this is kind of tough. And the head of the police is just kind of like, Action, you already got demoted. Oh, you're right. That's right. I did get demoted.
Which is another-
I don't need to stir up some
Another
more shit.
really strange plot point.
He got
In
demoted.
that conversation, not only did he lose his lieutenant stripes, he also lost his gun privileges.
And his wife.
They didn't. The police department didn't take away his wife.
Did they?
No, but he said that
Yeah, he lost his
because
wife.
of this, you've lost your wife, your gun privileges, and
You're
got
suspended
demoted.
from
That
movie.
is just strange to me that they're making a guy wander around and practicing law enforcement
Not to mention,
without a gun.
He's still a sergeant. He's
still
still a
a
sergeant
sergeant.
without a gun. Huh. Desk sergeant, maybe.
And that you never find anybody else that's a lieutenant, so it's like his job is the same, they just gave him a downgrade. Because he's got the desk right in front of the captain's office.
Right.
He's still the gatekeeper of the captain. He's doing the same job he was doing before, he just gets
Isn't
paid
called
less.
lieutenant.
And doesn't have a damn gun.
He can't actually shoot anybody.
Stop, or my partner will shoot him.
No!
I was gonna go with my
Nice.
mom, but then I didn't want to.
His
be
mom
honest.
wasn't in the movie.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Stop, or Biff will shoot you. Right
Yeah,
in
he
the
seems
fucking
more
face.
like a stockbroker than a cop.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning of the movie. Like, the next time you see him, he's at a party, a black tie
affair
party, for some reason, for Craig T. Nelson to get an award. What's his name?
The only-
Vanderduke? Delaplane. To get an award, and he's giving banter about law with some other schmo.
With some crusty dude.
With some crusty dude.
Yeah.
Oh, like, well, in the state of Louisiana,
And then he's like-
in Jackson versus the State Board of Bureaucracy, Framistan's.
Well, that's when we first meet Sharon Stone, too.
That was the dual part scene. One, Craig T. Nelson is the bad guy. Two, Sharon Stone looks good from the back end.
You know how
She looks good from all ends in this movie.
You know how you find out that Craig T. Nelson
she's
is
real
the
hot
bad
when
guy?
she's young. What?
He's got a ninja driver.
He's got a ninja driver.
Ninja drivers are always red flags that guy is the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
If you see a ninja driver, like, sir, your car is ready, and he kind of looks ninja-esque, get the fuck out of there.
And he's
go home and
he's
never have anything to do with those people again.
Yeah, when Sharon Stone married him, and she was like, "Isn't your driver the martial arts bad guy from every movie?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is.
She should have. That's a red flag.
Big red flag. Of course, Sharon Stone.
Because here's the
herself is a red flag.
Okay, First moment of racism in the podcast. Who pays an Asian to drive him around?
Hey-o! Hey-o! Zowie!
Oh, boy.
Boy.
Oh, boy.
And there's so many other things they're good at. Cooking, throwing Japanese stars,
You should have
using
just let me.
nunchucks.
You should have just let me lay in that grave by myself, Jackie.
I'm just saying.
Maths.
There's somebody here.
They're good at the maths.
Math. Building Toyotas.
Well, here we'll inflect a little in internal racism. I like that Vince Neil is one of the ninja assassins.
And then you never really get a good look at him because what did you say? You thought it was Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, I thought it was Stevie Nicks at first. Turns out it was more Vince Neil.
Vince Neil. And then when you finally get a look at him, he's just like, "Whoa, that guy's hair sucks."
How's the Camaro, buddy?
Yeah, that looked like somebody just held him upside down with a wire.
Where do you suppose...
That was actually in that guy's contract that he got the Fiero from the making of the movie.
Exactly. Where do you suppose Delaplane hired these ninja assassins?
You know, that's very unclear.
Did he go to like the ninja assassin store and just like you just
I'll
line
take
up
4 of
the
them.
guys? You got line up the guys on either side of the aisle, and he's like, that guy looks good. That guy looks good. That guy looks good. Because they're all.
But you know, Justin,
it is an eclectic group of ninja assassins. They all have their own identities and personalities. Nobody
Right.
wears a mask. They've all got badass hair. One guy gets to be the
he knew what he was
imposter.
doing. Do you know why?
He did.
Because he knew karate in slacks, a polo shirt with a sweatshirt over the top.
That's true. Jumping quite a ways ahead.
I'm just saying, he had some ninja experience himself. He was kind of a badass ninja guy. Why are all villains badass ninja guys? No matter if they're white, black, whatever. It's like,
Karate
we're
was
gonna cut
huge
this-
in the 80s.
we're
Like,
going to
Karate
cut this
was
to a
huge.
karate scene so that everybody knows that the villain is a ninja badass. Like, that guy could not lift his foot over his head. That is a stunt leg coming up in those shots, because that guy is a big fat piece of shit. And let me tell you,
so I thought that Craig T. Nelson looked very svelte.
I don't know any fat guys
this film.
that look like that can lift their leg up that high and get somebody in the head. It's
Craig T.
more
Nelson
like
looked like he was in good shape.
if you had to kick a cheeseburger off of somebody's head, they would do it.
The high kicks were
But-
definitely unbelievable, but he didn't look
Yeah,
fat.
it was like stunt leg.
Where are you getting this fat thing?
He looked like a chunker.
He was very svelte.
Did
I
you
thought.
ever watch Coach?
Yeah,
He was fat then.
yeah. I'm just saying. Same fatness.
No,
There are
he
no
was-
leg up
5 years.
kicking somebody in the head
I
unless
think
that
if I
person's
was-
only like 5'3".
If I'm Craig T. Nelson, I watch this and go, man, look how good I look.
I look awesome.
I look
his
good.
his hair was atrocious.
yeah,
well-
but I'm not sure he ever had
He may have never had hair.
So you think that might have been a wig?
wig.
He's bald.
He was bald.
No, they gave him a comb over to kind of cover up that bald spot.
Well, I
in the
mean,
back.
it was, yeah.
Did you
halfway-
watch this movie?
Yeah.
I did.
His
Huh.
hair didn't start until like he had some halfway back on his head, but that's still not a lot of hair.
His hair did change colors throughout the movie, though.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
like gray.
it did.
Whenever he
He
has
and
karate
Sharon Stone
time,
had magic hair.
whenever it's karate time, his hair turns gray. Like, is that like maybe that's like he's got a superpower in this movie? Like it's
He
time
was
for
probably-
karate. He's like the Hulk. He turns green when it's time to beat up
My
people.
explanation,
Turn gray. I can do karate.
because of how hard it was to make his hair look blonde,
It looked unbelievable.
that during the action sequences he was sweating beads of gold.
Sweating
So-
just for men leaking. From
Yeah,
the
it was
top.
just so they were just like during the act. If you're going to move around a lot and you're going to be under lights for a little bit, we just can't do the thing with your hair.
I didn't also buy him as a blonde though. It just looks silly. Like, yeah, in this movie,
They were kind of trying to give him that German villain thing, you know, with the suave blonde hair
maybe.
and the crisp suits.
Yeah, maybe.
You know.
So wasn't Coach after this movie?
Oh, much after. So
Yeah,
was
So in
but
Coach he doesn't
Poltergeist
have
is
gray
right
hair.
before.
Yeah, but in Poltergeist he doesn't have gray hair either. He's got brown hair, but bald, very bald. Mm-hmm. But he's always got brown hair. So they dyed his hair gray and blonde in separate sequences, and then
Well, not necessarily.
or he
because-
just has gray hair and they dyed his hair brown for Coach.
Well,
and
with-
Poltergeist.
I think they dyed his hair brown for Coach.
Let me tell you what happens with blonde hair.
He's also in The Devil's Advocate, which is much later.
I am a hairdresser, originally. And let me tell you what happens with blonde hair. You get anything fucked up. You know how you get gray hair if you have blonde hair? You put this...
Mary
silver-
Jackie, heyo!
Boof! Ah, Joseph's bleeding in the corner! No, you put this Simply Silver on it, and it makes it gray. So what he probably did was try to use this goddamn shampoo too much to keep the blonde not looking all shitty. And then turned his hair gray on accident. We're like, tough shit, dude, we got to film today.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the filming, this movie didn't take very long to shoot. I like that Delaplane prefers shitty, trashy, whorish, drug addict lounge singers to Sharon Stone.
I think that he just likes to bang.
Finger bang, bang.
He kills
bang,
his wife.
Bang.
Well,
She's really not onto anything.
No, she didn't really have it figured out.
No.
No.
Just tell me, were you part of it? No, I'm not a part of anything.
Okay, I believe
What
you.
are you talking about?
He's like, I believe you. But I talked to Action Jackson. But I didn't tell him anything.
But I didn't tell him anything.
Okay, well, I'm going to shoot you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But, you know, then again, I'm having a feeling he likes to have sex with the dead ladies because he injected Scuzzy Lounge Singer with that drug, right? She's like, oh, baby, and she's all naked. They're going to get it on.
Undisclosed drug. We need to clarify that no
one
point
injected
do we
drug.
know. I think it was called crap one time.
Yeah.
But he injects
And
her
it
with it, right?
has
And
a-
she passes out, and then you know he's like,
See,
yeah. And then when he shoots Sharon Stone later, and she's laying on the bed fully clothed, and he's like, yeah, and he's going for her blouse, starting to undo the blouse, and I'm like, ah!
Well, he had to take her pants off. That's step 2. Shoot the wife, take her clothes off. Step 3,
Put
get
her
a
in
sandwich.
Action Jackson's house.
Get a sandwich.
Get a sandwich. Step 4, put her in
Yeah.
Action Jackson's house.
Actually, I think step 4 is watching football.
Oh. Well, see, that's what I put down was that because he didn't look like he was interested in having sex with Vanity, even though I think you're supposed to believe that that's happening when he injects her, that he's going to have sex with her basically passed out corpse. That it more or less looks like he's just going to go raid her fridge.
Yeah.
See, I told you.
Which, you know, he fucking bought the shit anyway, so
Step
it's
1.
his sandwich to begin with.
inject the whore. Step 2, climb on top. Step 3, go get a sandwich. Step 4, get football.
There
Watch
you
some
go.
football. It's the same every time. Do you guys know anything about drugs? Like, at all?
Oh, yeah. I know that I've never experienced a drug that does everything that drug did.
What? I know you can inject heroin. Do you inject anything else?
You can inject whatever you want.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it
you
is
just
the
have to
preferred method. I mean, you know.
Well, that's the thing is that the preferred method of drugs is injection. It hits twice as hard, twice as fast.
So why doesn't everybody inject coke or pot?
That'll kill you. People do. That's like how a lot of people die. The speedball is heroin and cocaine mixed together. A lot of John Belushi,
Gotcha.
Chris Farley.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
A lot of guys go that way.
So we're to infer that it's heroin.
Yes, but it doesn't. I mean, that's
Act
what I
like
infer.
heroin?
I infer that it's
brown
heroin.
like heroin.
It was brown.
It didn't
Yeah.
have a color.
It looked pretty
No,
clear.
it was brown. Like
It was
like,
like-
Oh, when he injects the guy, it was kind of green brownish.
yeah.
It was dirty. Yeah, I mean,
Dirty.
you're to assume that it's heroin, but the second time you see her on it, it's not acting
She's
like
not on
heroin.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's pretty confusing. The whole movie's actually very confusing. Why does Action Jackson have a maid mannequin in his apartment?
Yeah, I was the one that spotted that, and I made you back it up. And I was like, "There's a maid mannequin in that scene," and Justin was like, "Oh no, there's not." And Sam was like, "No, I'm pretty sure I saw it too." So we had to back up, and sure enough, it had like some kind of silver old lady wig on.
Is
and it
it
was standing back there in some kind of weird way?
is it a mannequin or is it Action Jackson's real doll?
I don't know.
He's after the silver fox.
Ooh.
Well, they didn't have those then.
Real dolls?
Yeah.
They had blow up dolls.
Yeah.
It could have just been a mannequin with a hole cut out.
He just fashioned his own vagina
Yeah.
into the mannequin. I've heard of people doing that.
Vagina.
I've heard of people doing that.
Yeah.
It sucks because when you grab onto their boobs and they're all hard and plastic.
Pretty weird.
You sound like you know a lot. I was just gonna let that slide, but now that you went into the boob comment, I'm kind of thinking maybe I should.
And you can't
put
put your full weight on them because they'll crush. They smash and you can get stabbed.
Where do you think the
By
big time
plastic.
TF came from?
Oh my god! So I'm totally next time we come to your apartment for anything, I'm gonna be looking in every.
Looking for
You'll be
mannequins.
looking under your bed. Where's your mannequin, Sam?
You can't walk through it.
Sam, the mannequin man.
There's too many mannequins that I've had
She
sex
had
with.
a big mouth, so I had to shoot her and then eat a sandwich.
Is that why you live above the dumpster so you can just throw
Just
them over
huck-
the porch
huck-
when you're done? Well, this one's got a crack in it.
Why are there all these gunshotted mannequins in this dumpster every week? I swear to God.
Sam,
Because they got big fucking mouths!
Sam, are you reliving Action Jackson again? Don't lie about it.
I don't really know what happened in this movie, so there's just all my notes are just like thoughts.
Yeah.
Basically.
So are we to the point now with the balls in the jar?
No, I'm at the point where Action Jackson is trying to find out info. Like, the whole movie he just is chasing down leads, but the first lead he chases down is, what's his name? Tom Davey?
Robert
Davey. Cigarette smoking guy who's fucking nervous
one of the
as
Colombians
shit.
in Predator?
He might have been.
If he is, there was 4 other guys from Predator in that movie.
Yeah, a lot.
Like, everybody that wasn't already on something from Predator just got dragged into this movie.
Everybody that wasn't
There were a lot of people that I recognized from this movie, like Biff from Back to the Future, and
Biff's in a lot of other things. You just don't realize.
The police chief guy, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Bill Duke. Yeah. Bill Duke is the
one who gets punched
I was
in the face.
also in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He, of course, directed Sister Act 2.
Yes, of course. Forever
and ever, I'll stay in your heart and I will. Okay, no.
And that there's about a handful of crime films that he directed that are supposedly very underrated. Supposed to be very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, we're at the part where he's in the apartment and
Esprit de Corps Jackson?
Esprit de Corps Jackson?
That was good. I actually really like that line. Like, wow, that's...
There were a lot of really good lines in this movie.
Thesaurus.
Like in the opening scene when or not in the opening scene, but the cops with Biff and his partner in the car right before they get the bag grabbing guy. And he's like, so... The only babes in your house have been... Because he's talking to Biff, right? Like, since you moved in, it's been your mom. So I'm assuming your house is the house of wax. And then he makes the jerk-off sign. I'm like, pretty sure that people don't jerk off with wax. Like, I'm pretty sure that would pull out your pubic hairs and that would hurt really bad.
Some people might jerk off with wax. It's hard to say. There's a lot of weird people out there. You liked the one-liners in this movie. I was a little disappointed. And here's where I'm going. In that same scene, this is a perfect segue... The APS guy shows up. It wasn't UPS, it was APS, the black ninja assassin.
Yeah, because they've got a black guy too.
Right, they've got a black guy too. And he says, how do you want to pay? COD? And then he shoots him. That's like, I thought that was the perfect opportunity for him to go, what's COD? And then one-liner, and then shoot. So I wrote down a couple options for... what COD is.
Okay.
When you're in the situation.
Okay.
You want to pay by COD? Want COD? Check out death.
Oh my god, I want that one.
That's a good one.
Okay. Alright, the second one is, how do you want to pay? COD? Want COD? Cash on die!
I like how in all your scenarios he dies with multiple gunshots.
Yeah, well, duh.
He had a shotgun.
I just thought it was a perfect setup for something clever is going to happen with COD and nothing does.
You got any more?
No, this is the only two. If you guys can come up with something else.
All I came up with was cock on dick.
Cock on dick!
What? Shut up!
That's
See, and
weird.
I was thinking condom on dick, and then you stole my thunder, so now I look stupid. W!
Yeah,
COD!
So, he gets detonated, and then Action Jackson has to identify the body, and he's like, bummer, I just saw that guy.
That guy owed me $20. I'm searching this apartment for $20.
So then, no, you can't search the apartment for $20 because the guy already raided his own apartment. Like, what was he?
And all he found was a pair of sweatpants, a white beater with a tear in it, and a very nice blazer.
and apparently all the smokes you can stand.
That's right.
So Action Jackson's next move. I don't know why. I don't even know what Action Jackson's doing. Like, is he on a case or is he
goes
just
back to the precinct at that point.
Okay.
And we have to mention that this is when I noticed it, because the first time they get there, maybe they had a raid on hookers. He comes back, Again, nothing but hookers.
Lots of hookers.
Everywhere. And they're not, like, getting arrested or being booked. Like, one of them was sitting on another guy's lap. Like,
they're having a hooker party.
There's murder all over Detroit, and they're like, go round up. That's too hard. Go round up the hookers and let's have a party.
Step 1, arrest hookers. Step 2, bang hookers.
Yeah.
Step 3, get a sandwich. Step 4, watch football. It's easy. I'm telling you, you can do anything in this movie with that equation. Well, so how does he get put onto a trail of anything?
Well, he takes the nervous guy that gets shot by the APS guy.
He says something.
Somebody's on to me. Somebody's on to me.
No, he said it's Stella playing or whatever.
What's going on?
Oh, yes. It is the 3rd of July. There is now fireworks going up. Nobody can hear that on the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe they can, but it's very faint.
Yes.
It's not even
just
dark yet. I guess
talk about the movie.
Yes.
Anyway,
so he gets told that Delaplane's involved with something. So Action Jackson's next move is to go find Delaplane's wife, who is not dead yet.
And conveniently, he is her escape plan for the afternoon.
Which now we are at scene 2 for all of the boobs. Do you want to give us a countdown on boobs?
Well, the thing is with both of these ladies, it was like 2 minutes to tits. Or 2 minutes to the twins.
Screen time.
Twice, yeah. On screen, that you see
I'm not
Vanity
actually
for about...
sure Vanity makes it 2 minutes.
Makes it 2 minutes. I don't think Sharon...
Well, she sang that terrible
Which was like a minute.
Like
so Sharon Stone's on screen for 15 seconds once. Then about 5 seconds... She didn't make 2 minutes.
I don't know if she made 2 minutes.
Neither one of them made 2 minutes.
It was like a courtesy minute.
And then...
courtesy minute worth of lines.
Yeah,
and then, give me your boobs!
Introduction, then boobs.
And it was just like...
I am a character in this movie. Here's my
boobs. And that with Vanity, who doesn't get knocked off, you never see him again, so it was just like gratuitous boobs. Like,
we know see him that you see-through the second song.
Yeah, but it wasn't like just blink boobs.
Yeah, and they both scenes were blink boobs.
Yeah,
like,
it's like
blink, boobs.
They should have just focused, because you know what it felt like to me?
You do get Sharon Stone's boobs twice because she's dead.
She's dead, naked, yeah.
But it kind of seemed like every time they showed some tits, it'd be like a normal shot, and then just slowly the shot would come into the boobs.
A bit.
And I mean, did anybody else notice that? I did. I was like, we're getting a little closer.
Well, the one with Vanity, when Craig T. Wilson yanks off with her, when she just sort of... Like, the shot barely even had her head in it.
Barely.
Like, she's barely, and he's sort of over the shoulder. It's basically like, oh my god, you aren't even going to, cut to another shot? You're just going to be like, okay, this is the shot that we're going to have the boobs in. You guys just do whatever you're going to do, and then we'll just wait for the boobs.
Keep talking.
There's a conversation that's not important because the only important thing here is boobs.
So, Sharon Stone hears the secret conversation with the bodyguard.
Yeah, why is the bodyguard involved in shit?
Yeah.
So, he's the fucking butler.
Yeah.
Oh, is he the butler or the bodyguard?
He's the fucking butler.
He's the butler.
Because remember when he gets run over at the end, he's got the butler stripe tie in the vest?
Oh,
why is the butler talking to anybody about anything? You're the fucking butler. You should be making sure that everybody's doing their fucking job.
Yeah, you should be making sure there's toilet paper in all the bathrooms, that the silver has been polished, answering the fucking door, not making deals.
Answering the door and making sure that all the other heads...
Well, now... She's scared because
the
butler's in on some
who done it
stuff. She doesn't even know what stuff. It just sounds like, hey, that conversation sounds like some shady deals. Oh my god, I'm scared for my life. So she gets scared for life, but she has time to change her clothes before she has to leave. The butler shows up and is like, may I drive you someplace, ma'am? He's just doing his job. And she's like, oh my god, I gotta get out of here. She opens up the door and there's Action Jackson, ready to pick her ass up for some reason.
Meanwhile, she changed out of a bathrobe into something that leaves less
basically
to the imagination than a bathrobe did.
Of silk pajamas.
Pants robe, per se.
They were
silk pants.
Yeah, and they were
like night pants with a silk halter top. And a jacket.
A jacket. She was wearing, that was the thing keeping the nips from showing when she had a green members-only jacket.
Yeah, it was a ladies' members-only jacket. What are you members-only to? The Boob Club?
Well,
So they go to lunch.
Yeah, they go to a bar.
Oh yeah, they
Some
go to
shit
a
bar,
really
like-
shit bar. She
He's
doesn't
like,
belong
"Hey, the
there.
drinks are
She's
cheap
like
here."
the second richest
And
person.
he's drinking scotch.
She's married to the richest guy in all of Detroit. And
Yeah, but she's drinking out of a martini glass. It isn't even a martini glass. It's like
It was like a plastic martini
It
glass.
was
Yeah,
a
it was
flute. It was
no, it wasn't like a flute, but it was like
was
a halfway
close.
martini glass.
Yeah.
It was like
in a dive bar, completely like, oh,
And you're to assume that they've
Married
been
to the
there
richest
for a
man.
while, so that's
Yeah.
probably their third.
they're
It's like
drinking.
lunchtime.
She's having martinis.
She's having martinis.
I'll
He
tell
was
you
drinking-
whatever you want to hear. Actually,
He was drinking scotch and just splashing Perrier on top of it. So they were fucking loose. Like, this is what flies. You just get drunk. at
No,
lunch.
now it makes sense because right after that is the action.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
38 minutes into the film, and Action Jackson commits action. Finally.
38 fucking
30
minutes.
How long was the goddamn movie? Did we even check?
it was like an hour and a half.
So
almost halfway through the movie.
before he commits action.
Yeah, because when we checked it, there was still like 53 minutes or something like that. And if we count credits, so there's about 50 minutes left of the film.
Well, they're leaving to go God knows where.
Don't
And-
forget, we see the little black handbag stealer again. He comes into the
Oh,
bar,
right,
sees
right.
Action Jackson, he's like, "Oh shit!"
And bugs out.
and then runs out.
And I think if he had fainted there, I think that the third time fainting, it would have
Would've
got
been
me.
funny.
It
That
would have
would've
got
been
me.
funny.
If he just walked in the door, Action Jackson, and dropped over.
Actually, it wouldn't have been, because the
Damn
fourth
it.
time you see, like, if you would have fainted there, I'd been like, oh god. But if the last time you see him before he becomes part of the movie was when he gives the room service
Right.
at the Roach Hotel, like, that has room service now.
No, that's the fourth time. He's in it 5 times.
Yeah, the fourth time, though, that's when it would have got me if he would have fainted and then Carl Weathers just would have, like, grabbed the tray.
Oh, that's just what happens, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
They could have ran with it. The first 2 times was like, this is stupid. But they could have done
well,
more
and I
with
kind
that.
of wondered for like the whole fucking movie, like, what does this kid have to do from Shinola? Like, why is this little
Does he
fucker
have a
Does he
job?
have to do? Does he have? Because we have to wait on that. We're going to have to hold,
Well,
because that's
I know.
the very end of the movie.
And I'm not going to say what he had to do with it, but up to this point, that's what I was thinking. Like, why do they
He's-
keep bringing back this little
Because
fucker?
he is just strutting through
Strut-a-da,
nice, happy,
ba-da-da.
non-violent,
Detroit.
unless you're involved with the auto industry, Detroit,
Oh,
which is
He's
everybody.
He's the
So-
comic relief. Him and the 2 cops are the comic relief, and they're not funny.
No, not indeed. So, action is committed. Boy, oh boy, oi, 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 is it action. Wow.
That's when I was like, oh, they've just been saving it.
Let's break this down. He
Runs as fast as a car.
runs as fast as a car.
Before that, he sees the car approaching, and he grabs Sharon
He
Stone,
saves- okay.
and he saves her by throwing
Saves-
him and herself
saves
over
a
the
life,
roof of a car.
saves a woman's life, runs as fast as a car,
And,
jumps
Well, but that's what's
in
funny is because they
air.
almost get run over by a cab, and before he starts running it down, he hails another cab for her.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah.
So- Assuming that
actually
that cab-
faster than the cab.
Yes, that cab is not a deadly cab.
True.
It's
Which
not
it wasn't.
Never know in Detroit.
So it was a good call.
Good call. He's an excellent judge.
When he commits
of
the
cabs.
action, he's good at all things.
Yeah, so he hails the cab, and then he takes off after he runs down a cab that looks like it's going pretty fast.
It looked like about 35 miles an hour.
And then he's
might.
running next to the cab, like
Right.
telling it to like
Hey,
he's trying to pull over a
pull
cab
over.
on foot that's speeding.
But
Just
the
running.
cab is like, fuck you, buddy. Even though Ninja Assassin is inside the cab and he should just probably pull over, get out, and shoot Action Jackson. But he doesn't. He's like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. This guy's he's fucking Captain America. So then he
Captain America.
jumps on top of another car, uses that as a trampoline to jump on top
And
of
flies.
the cab. Flies.
Flies.
Like good 20 feet on top of the cab. The cab is driving hot. It's a good thing those stunt drivers have
Harness.
that harness, because oh boy, that guy would have skidded right off the top of that one.
But what's great, he was
Fishtails
like-
around that corner.
You know, you
Fishtails
think
are-
about it every single time you see one of these scenes, right? But
And the
actually,
guy's
in
on
this
top of the
movie-
car?
Yeah, Action Jackson on top of the car goes, starting to think this was a bad idea.
It is a bad idea. Don't get
Yeah.
on top of the car.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, you know how many other movies I've seen, and you kind of wish they would say that, but they just keep holding on. Like,
Actually, I don't.
And
I
they
kind of
kinda
wish
give you
the
that, I
driver
just shit- I'm
would
trying
just
to shit
immediately
myself
hit the
pants.
brakes. Just immediately hit the brakes. We don't need this. Just immediately hit the brakes.
Right when the driver sees Action Jackson trampoline off the other car, and he notices him flying, he just hits the brakes and he just kind of misses. He just goes belly first onto the pavement, like, ooh, it knocked the wind out of me.
And then run him over. Movie over. So Action Jackson does, the guy finally, after shooting at Action Jackson, and the Action Jackson does the typical bullet dodge on top of the car. Brakes, flies over the car, lands on the street, does a couple barrel rolls. And then
no, you missed the part where they fishtail around and then the truck holding all the volatile chemicals.
Oh yes, the
runs into a car.
The innocent people death.
Yeah, and then
at least 5 people are
the
dead.
stuntmen that are doing it. That car is not very far away from that explosion as it's speeding off.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But then they have the.
But it's implied innocent bystander
car, though,
death.
that was just close enough to catch fire and blow up.
So
and land on another car and blow that car.
So you're assuming that there's so that's a two car collision. There's at least one guy driving the truck. Let's put 2 people in the other car because it was a sedan for 80's sake. And then it explodes into another car and then explodes into another car. So that's 5 people dead
that we
because
know
of Action Jackson's bad ability to be an actual cop. Like his action's just too hot. No business. He should.
That's why he's Sergeant Action Jackson and not Lieutenant Action Jackson.
That's true. He's, So, anyways, those got all dead. Yeah. They're all dead. No concern. Nobody cares about that anymore. Especially Action Jackson. So he gets braked, barrel rolls, stands up and yells, "You can't kill me! You can't
don't shoot me!
Yeah, don't shoot me! You can't." Why?
He like taunts the guy into like running him over.
Right, running him over. Guy floors it. He's probably doing a year or two in for, again, that he's doing at least 25, because there's a 20,
well,
30
the way
foot
that the car
distance
jumps afterwards, he's got to be doing 45.
Well, he accelerates past Action Jackson. So Action Jackson does a backflip over the fucking car. Front flip, actually, which is harder than a backflip.
Yes.
Front flips the fucking car. The guy's just amazed, like, Jesus Christ, did that guy just jumped over this car, and then he careens into another car. The car that he's in does a front flip into another car shop, and
into a dealership showroom.
Car's crushed, destroyed. It goes through the wall. Mm-hmm. Like, usually
he
when
hits
you see
the top corner of the roof.
When you see that scene, the car usually goes through the window, and it's like, oh, it crashes through the window. No, it takes out the whole building. A car nose ends into a building and destroys the entire building. Get the car. They make him good in Detroit.
Yeah.
Because the driver's
okay.
aces. He's good.
Yeah, he gets out and he escapes.
Crumple zones. Did they have crumple zones in cabs in the 80s?
I believe this is the black...
Airbags? It was their black assassin guy. Action Jackson.
Yeah, it was the bad guy's black guy.
It was amazing. I don't even know how to segue after how amazing that action was.
That action...
Wait, I do know. Wait. I want action tonight. Satisfaction.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. We have a strict Def Leppard policy.
And do you know why I'm saying that? Because there was no fucking action. Over on the mattress.
Nobody knows what that means. Nobody knows.
Nobody was having the sexes in this movie.
No one was having the sexes.
Nobody can see you.
Nobody was having the sexes in this movie.
Circle finger.
The old in and out.
Yeah, the old in and out.
But not only should this movie have been called Action Jackson because he had action during scenes, but he should have getting some action.
Well, here's the funny...
And he wasn't getting any action.
Here's the funny thing.
Well, he's not Machete.
If you can stop talking for just a minute. If you were to look up Action Jackson on the Urban Dictionary, it will tell you, because I just did, a man who thinks he gets a lot of action, but doesn't. The definition of Action Jackson is a man who does not get any.
Well, he wasn't even trying.
Well, that's part of the secondary theme in this movie. Is obviously the quest for purity.
Oh my god!
Of course. Because Vanity decides to kick the habit after about 3 hours, and she's like, "I'm clean."
And you're like, "Yeah, you are."
Yeah, you are. You're still high from the last time.
I know how we segue. We're actually doing amazing on time on this one. We got a long ways to go, so we got to move this along. So the next scene we see is Craig T. Nelson walking into his house, and his butler says, and I quote, "Here's your $3.57, sir." Just in case you need to murder your wife.
Well, yeah, he said something goofy, too, about, like, I just had it reported, and I was like, oh, so it's an engine?
I just got home after a long day of work. Thank you for my gun.
Like, you could not have given me a scotch?
Excellent.
You're a terrible butler!
The one thing I wanted when I came home after logging 12 hours by being the CEO of a major manufacturing corporation was my gun. Good job. Good job. Why don't you give me some fucking Vicodin, way too much Vicodin, and my gun, and also cut my wrist, you son of a bitch. But
turns out he needs that.
Craig D. Nelson did need that gun, not for himself.
Well, you know, how else are they going to introduce this gun? They're like, okay, you know what?
Here's your gun.
Give this guy a gun as he comes in so he can shoot Sharon Stone. It seriously was,
here's your $3.57, sir, in case you need to plug your wife.
Yeah.
Later. Just, I don't know. Maybe it's tonight that it's going to happen.
Just for you.
It is wife plugging approved.
See, I think that he actually plugs Sharon Stone at her 2-minute screen mark. Which means that she was just in this movie long enough to get him out twice.
That is good money. If I had Sharon Stone's knockers,
after she was dead,
I would be like, wait, 2 minutes of screen time? These boobies are coming out. Give me the cash. What do I get paid? $100,000? $500,000? You're
just
fucking
so you all know out there,
I get my cans out.
Justin will get his cans out for any amount of money.
But any 38 cents.
38 cents to see Justin's cans? You just have to show him the cash and he'll be like, shake him in your face.
It's the change America needs.
Just don't plug me.
However, I did watch
my shows and things that I do.
Total Recall.
Plug me with a gun.
Last year, and having seen this, Sharon Stone is rapidly climbing my time machine hit list.
What does that mean?
So if I had a time machine, I wouldn't use it to save the world. I would just go back and bang chicks that were hot when they were in their prime. And the only way that I could do that, because I'm a handsome man, but I'm not the bee's knees say.
Unless you tell it.
The only way that you can do it is by being Future Man.
Future Man.
So, like, I'm breaking all of the rules of time.
Man!
Like, oh, look at my smartphone. And they'll be like, oh my god, you are Future Man. And like, yeah.
Sam, let me tell you.
We have to save the future by banging me.
If you're going to be Future Man, do not wear spandex. It's not going to be coming on you.
I don't, you know me. I'm not going to really do anything with my apparel.
Maybe a pair of leather pants like David Bowie and the Labyrinth, and you'd be like, dance, baby, dance. And you shove your balls out at everybody.
Is it possible that Future Man could ever be, like, a comic book character and he's good? Like, what scenario for goodness do you need Future Man? Like, we are voting today. One man may blow up the world. How do we make this decision? Call Future Man! Other than that, the only thing Future Man is good for...
Like, we got his machine. I think he's banging Sharon Stone again.
Yeah, Future Man be kind
Future
of
Man,
Future Man, you better not my wife.
If there was a crisis in 1975, I wouldn't be able to help because I would spend the entire year banging Terry Garr.
He's a very bad guy, Future Man. Future Man only can be used for sinister plots. But
for impregnating the ladies.
For good plots, there's not a whole lot of good things that Future Man can do.
I would have... just kept track of where I planted the trees, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to end up like Time Rider. My own fucking grandpa or some shit like that. Like, way to write that down, bud.
Speaking of whores, Sydney Ash is almost as big of a whore as Vanity is. Almost as big of a whore as Vanity is.
Like in real life.
She's lower on the time machine.
No, Vanity, don't forget our backstory behind Vanity. Her name was Vagina of the Hookers.
Just remember that the listeners may not have listened to the 0.5 episodes, so
well,
we can fill them in that Vanity and
Wait,
Ash...
all three of... you mean...
Yeah, Vanity and Ash are the same fucking person. More than us listen to this show? They're the same fucking person. So, yeah, I mean...
They're not. Sydney Ash is more of a whore than Vanity.
Well, I just want to say, though, that
We are to assume.
We were looking at this woman during this film. You know, she's all like, she comes on first, and she's like, "I'm a fucking singer,
singing songs about getting banged.
Wee-hee.
Only singing about getting banged.
And then she's a fucking junkie, and
Then
I'm
she's
thinking
a
like,
mega junkie.
big fucking surprise, honey. You look like you've been on the crack for some time now. Like, are your teeth falling out? Don't
And
smile too much because we don't want to see your druggy teeth missing.
Within 5 minutes, not movie time, not screen time, but movie time of meeting Action Jackson, she wants to bang. Like,
bang, bang.
But she's fucked up. She wants to party.
Yeah,
Well,
she wants to get down.
Like, even after she realizes that she's not going to have sex with him, when she's like, she gives a last ditch fucked up person, like, you want to fuck or what? Like,
yeah,
no, I don't.
No, like,
Well, then go away.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I've had enough.
you're
buddy.
harshing my buzz, bud.
my horror buzz. She's a real whore.
I've got to say, I was
So-
once that girl. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes I like to pretend like I was. I was always way too shy.
Radio edit.
I just could never be that person. It was just awful to be like, nobody likes me. I'm going to throw myself at anything. And I just couldn't do it. I wanted to be a Vanity, but I was just more like a Mary Poppins trapped with my umbrella thinking, shit, I'm just going to fly away on this magic cloud now.
Radio edit. Those are my markers because I'm just going to edit that all out. Nice job. You can't go on radio and call yourself a whore wannabe.
Why not?
I wanted to when I was in my early
This
20s.
is grody.
No, when I was in my early 20s, like, I was really super fat. I was almost like 300 pounds. So, like, any little bit of action I could get was, like, welcome. But nobody wanted it. So I'd be like, why don't you pass out? I could have been a rapist back then, for all you know.
So Vanity's gone 180. DeniseMatthews.com.
Oh, good for her.
Butterflies and I love you, Jesus.
Plug it. DeniseMatthews.com. Totally worth checking out.
She doesn't look like a crack whore anymore.
She looks good.
Some nice HTML5 she's got going on there.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
You know, she actually looks better there than she does
I thought
movie.
she's splendidly hot.
I thought she was disgusting.
I thought she looked like an intravenous drug user who...
Oh, she's got more songs. I gotta turn this shit off.
Alright, well, we gotta move on because we're already at 50 minutes.
She didn't make the Time Machine hit list, but she's now time permitting.
Okay,
with my own life. Because I can't live outside of time.
So the rest of the movie, essentially, I'm just going to skip some stuff here, is mostly Action Jackson
skip hot dog time.
pursuing leads.
Hot dog time was
Mostly
awesome.
just him pursuing leads and going into places.
And not getting anything found out.
Not getting any information at all.
But the owner of the Roach Motel, we do find out, knows more than Action Jackson, and he was one of the best boxers of his time.
That's great, but it has nothing to do with the plot.
Yes, it does.
No.
At the very
No, it doesn't.
end.
He has no... he shows up at the end.
Yeah,
but
and he punches some dude in the face.
Hold on. The
Okay,
only
wait.
reason that Action Jackson gets to know what the fuck is going on is because we get Morgan Freeman with him.
Yes.
He goes to a barbershop with a lady that doesn't have anything to do with anything else in the rest of the movie, and she Morgan Freeman's all of us and explains the entire sort
And this
of
is like
plot.
55 minutes into the movie.
I think it's more like I think this is
we're past an hour.
Yeah.
We're past the majority of the movie. We got no idea what's going on, so a hairdresser tells us while dancing and kind of in half song. But we forgot that Super Cop gets mugged. Action Jackson, the greatest cop ever,
right?
gets
been in
mugged
Detroit all the time. His car gets demolished. Yes, really stupid. He injects a guy with a full syringe.
One of the guys from the
And the
Billy,
guy doesn't fucking care.
God, what the hell is this? Billy something or other. The Indian guy from Predator.
Right.
And 48 Hours.
But then he throws him a double window throw. Throws him
That
through a
I've never
window
seen.
into
Have you
another
ever
window
seen
across
that
the alley.
before?
It was kind of like the Black Moon Rising where they jump the car from one roof to another story of another building. But no, I have never seen a guy
Getting thrown out of a
window across an alley into another window.
That was freaking awesome.
It was awesome.
In Glimmer Man, Seagal jumps through a window.
Lots of people jump
into
from
another
window.
But I don't think I've ever seen anybody
tossed.
getting thrown through.
No,
two
the guy
windows.
should have just gone down to the
And
ground.
it was
but he
almost
goes
believable
through.
because, like, he doesn't clear the other window. like he gets halved.
Right, yeah.
Like, it looks like it
are like,
hurts.
ooh, I gotta...
Ow, that's gonna leave a mark.
Some of the stunts were a little dicey in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But moving on.
He goes to the bar, gets into a bar fight.
Gets into a bar fight.
Because he's asking for somebody.
Which is before the barbaress.
Right, so he's asking for somebody at this bar, and I want to talk about this first. He's asking for somebody at this bar, and they're like, yeah, we've seen him. And
he's looking for Doc, Papa Doc.
Papa Doc, which at this point I don't know if Hellblazer is out yet, but total Papa Midnight bullshit happening right there.
Right, so he's asking for Papa Doc, and this guy who's he's just so fucked up looking, like some weird bug-eyed fish.
It was a nice Hawaiian shirt, though.
The Hawaiian shirt was awesome, but his weird, like, helmet haircut that was, like, really close to his head and his big fish eyes takes him back, shows him a cupboard or a china hutch, opens it up, and there's like 2 balls and some formaldehyde.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's that? He's like, that's Papa whatever.
And he's like, this is Papa Doc, and he's like, that's his balls, and he breaks a bottle over his back and knocks him out, I guess.
Right. And then the next scene is
him being held by a couple of douchebags.
Right, and they're gonna chop his nuts off, and I'm thinking, this could be bad. He hasn't even gotten any action yet.
Yeah, and then a very familiar actor, is probably one of his first jobs, was the guy holding the knife. Mm-hmm. I believe he's in New Jack City.
With his signature feather earring. That's
that's the bad guy from Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas.
Oh, so you know who I'm talking about, then.
Yeah, that's that guy. I was talking about the guy that was first talking to him, the black guy,
with
and
the chain,
with
right?
the knife. Yeah. When they said it's hot dog, like we're gonna cut off your balls. It's hot dog time.
I laughed so hard during that
what?
part. Like,
hot dog time? Which hot dog time?
Split your wiener.
Like I say that though, like I'm like it's hot dog time, to myself when I make hot dogs. I like them so much, and now I'm never going to be able to do that again because I'm like, oh,
happy 4th of July! It's hot dog time, and you're like, my balls.
Oh, yucky. Yeah.
And then Super Cop that has been mugged previously is like held by a couple of guys. You can get out of that.
Yeah.
You can get out of that.
He's like barely held. He's held onto the side of a pool table.
Kind of.
He's not even in like a chokehold
like they
or
got,
a half Nelson.
No. They've like one guy's got him by the wrist and another guy has him by the wrist.
Yeah.
Like anybody can get out of this in a movie anyway. I probably couldn't because I'm not action packed, but. At this point, Vanity comes in and makes up some bullshit and saves him.
Oh, the worst scene of the whole movie.
Oh yeah, she says that he's a nut job who thinks he's saving the world.
So then he goes on some
Hallelujah rant.
Hallelujah rant. Oh, so stupid. I was like,
this guy is crazy.
They are losing me bad here.
And then he beats him up.
Beats them all up.
And then they run out.
And then you do like, who's Papa Doc?
Mm-hmm.
He's a couple of balls that don't talk?
That's correct.
Right.
That's when he goes to the hairdresser.
Better go see the hairdresser.
Love that hairdresser.
Because somebody
with her clove cigarette and she's all
in the scripting of
I know motherfucking everything, motherfucker.
At some point during the scripting of this film, somebody was like on page 64, and they're like, "We should tell people what's going on in this movie."
We need a
and
Morgan
then they
Freeman.
wrote in a 3-page sequence. With the hairdresser that tells him what's happening in the fucking movie. And these two are like,
why the fuck would the hairdresser know? And haven't been a hairdresser myself. Because people tell you fucking everything.
Everything.
They tell you about shit you have no business knowing. I have known some famous people that have come into salons that I've worked at. And you know what? They tell you everything.
Like, yeah, I boned Vanity.
Yeah, like as soon as they're getting their hair washed, it's like fucking confession time. And you're like, oh, so you're cheating on your spouse and... you rape your children, or whatever they want to tell you. I mean, there's no stopping them.
You should probably call the cops if they tell you they rape
your children. Nobody ever told me they raped their children.
Yeah, before the hairdresser, when they're doing the thing and they do the amen, when he does his bullshit gospel rant, and then there's the sound designer brings in the...
oh, that's right, they were playing the Hallelujah crap behind him.
Yeah, and it was like, God... Because there was a bunch of, like, comic, like, cartoony sound cues through this whole goddamn movie, and that was when I was like... the sound designer is an asshole.
So he gets the info from the barbaress. Yes. And the info that he gets is he sets a trap. She also
had a sweet Hawaiian shirt on.
It sets a trap for another guy we've never seen or heard of. So they go to the set of the the final scene in RoboCop, the abandoned factory.
It's like an old cement factory.
And Vanity drives this fat dude out there.
Yeah, I have no idea who that guy was.
Who was the fat dude? He was a patsy, I think.
No, he was going to take over the AWA or whatever.
Which, yeah, this was confusing to me because I was like, God, I thought they shot all of RoboCop in Houston. But maybe they shot that scene there too.
I don't know, man.
Because they didn't shoot all of it in Houston. They just, because the future buildings were all like Houston architecture at the time when RoboCop was made was like, oh, look at future buildings.
Well, either way, they end up at this future building.
But like when you see this cement factory thing, you're like, that is the same thing from RoboCop. It is
definitely RoboCop.
Get to the Robin Hood part.
So she leads him up the stairs, or she tells him to go up the stairs because that's where Action Jackson's at, and you need to talk to him, or I'm to infer. He totally Robin Hoods
hanging out.
He's up at the top of the building. Like, it is. I'm going to look so sweet coming down on this chain that this guy is going to be so intimidated he will tell me anything.
It was like Robin Hood's Prince of Thieves.
I can't stand it.
You can't tell me it's not worth fighting for. It slides down like Maid Marian, I love you.
Which is a future episode of Stinker Madness. Check your listings and your local cable listings.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It was like that same scene.
It was very.
Twirls around
he did
do
a little bit of a twirl. It was twirl. Now I'm here. Tell me everything you know. And the guy says some bullshit that we don't know what the fuck he said.
He has a sweet red fitted shirt on.
Oh, he does have a red fitted shirt on.
He's looking
which
good.
comes into play later.
He gets kidnapped. No, they like... It was a double trap. It was a trap for Action Jackson, but then he gets trapped by these guys.
Stevie Nicks comes and...
Stevie Nicks whacks him in the neck.
The first time you get a good look, the very first time, like, nearly to the end of this movie, you finally actually see this guy, and you're like, well, it's not Vince Neil or Stevie Nicks.
True.
And it took the whole movie to decipher that.
So, they kidnap him...
And chain him up so that we can see his muscles.
Right. The first time that his shirt comes off. Or was it? No, the second time his shirt comes off.
No, see, I was wondering, because when he came out of the shower, he had the towel.
Built.
Oh, Carl Weathers is a specimen. He's fucking Apollo Creed. How many times do we have to say this?
Well, oh my God. Like, looking at him there when he was all chained up, I'm like...
Don't you remember?
You can fucking wash a shirt on that man!
When you watch Rocky, that's what you feel the first time you see him. You're like... There's no fucking way.
Yeah, I looked down at my own gut and I thought, oh man, embarrassing.
You're comparing yourself to Carl Weathers.
That guy was like, I'm just saying, if you were to stand up next to him and dance really fast, you could probably get one of those
fat people that watch bad movies. There's professional athletes that are like, oh, God damn it, I'm not Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, yeah. No,
that guy was fucking built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah, Stallone's built, and in Rocky, you look at Stallone next to Weathers, and you're like, there's no way. This guy's going to rip him apart. That's like one of the great things about Rocky is that he's sort of the underdog.
I mean, it kind of looked like they sprayed him with a hose to make him look more.
He was covered in oil.
He was covered in oil. Of course,
but naturally. That guy, that's impressive. I was impressed.
Yeah. Well, I know what Jackie's going to be thinking of when we go to bed later. So he's getting tortured.
I only have eyes for
me.
Captain America.
I can take it. And deal out the information. He's about to get burninated by the obscure building manufacturing tool. I don't know. It was like a robot torch.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
So that's a terrible tool. Don't listen, auto manufacturers. Don't buy one of those because that's stupid. But then out of nowhere,
a fucking Fiero.
Then out of nowhere,
the real Action Jackson shows up.
Mr. Ed.
Hello. I'm Mr. Ed. And drops out of fucking nowhere. 270-pound Mr. Ed.
This guy's fucking 400 if I weigh a pound. But he's Action Jackson.
I was like, hello, I'm Mr. Ed is the best that they could come in with right there.
But just so the listeners know, this guy had showed up previously in the movie as
his name Mr. Ed?
As Vanity's bodyguard.
Right.
So we had already seen him before.
He can take a punch.
Right, so we've already seen him get punched a couple of times. Yeah. We know he's, like, invulnerable to pain. And then he just jumps down, like this 270-pound guy.
I am Mr. Ed.
I am Mr. Ed.
And he's not 270 pounds. The guy weighs close to 400. He's huge.
And he just starts kicking ass.
beats the shit out of all the ninjas, the ninja assassins, uses the blowtorch to free
Carl
Action
Weathers,
Jackson.
yeah.
And then, so then what's the next move? Let's go to a black tie house party.
Or, no, the next thing is...
Let's go to the house.
They kill almost everybody, and then the one guy shows up, and he's like...
Oh, Huey Lewis.
I'm holding a gas
Huey
can.
Lewis, that's right.
Vince Neil shows up, and they've got the flamethrower still, and he's like, oh no, I'm holding a gas can.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's how Vince Neil gets burninated.
Yeah.
But then
the guy who looks like Stevie
Huey
Nicks.
Lewis gets exploded.
He gets exploded.
But the guy who looks like Huey Lewis.
He gets exploded.
Right,
Yeah.
he gets exploded. Well, they all get
He goes
exploded.
out to chase them
And
out.
then-
They're on either side of the door, and like Action Jackson kind of distracts him, and then Mr. Ed knocks him down. They take his gun and they blow him
Yeah.
up
Right.
with a grenade
Well,
launcher.
That was Huey
it's-
Lewis.
Yeah, the Huey
Yeah.
Lewis guy, and that's the bouncer guy that doesn't even have a fucking name in the movie. He's the one that does all the heavy lifting.
I guess he's
Through
Mr.
all
Ed.
this-
He's
scene.
Mr. Ed.
I guess.
He's Mr. Ed. So he does that, and then they're friends.
We
And
don't
you're
need
like-
another hero.
That's Tina
We
Turner.
just need Mr. Edo.
Edo.
Oh boy. Anyway.
Mr. Ed. He was Mr. Action Jackson for me.
Yeah,
He
so
was-
at that point you're like,
it was
oh,
more
Action
interesting than
Jackson's got a
Action
sidekick, but that's what you're to infer. I'm thinking, who's sidekick here? Because I just watched Action Jackson not do anything for about an hour, let a hairdresser tell him what to do, get into trouble. This guy's probably found things out on his own because he shows up at the right place
Right.
and does all the heavy lifting. Like,
absolutely.
he is Action Jackson.
Absolutely.
Action Jackson is Melvin Jackson.
Watch out for Mr. Ed.
So they go to a black tie house party and crash it, where fake Action Jackson is supposed to assassinate somebody. No,
Which
fake,
that was
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So yeah, when
The evil guy's black guy.
Craig T. Nelson goes on to one of the longest fucking villain monologues ever.
Really?
Oh, he was talking about that for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's like,
I might
I've
have
got
blanked
your
out there.
shirt, Action Jackson, and because
Oh,
all
right.
you black people
Yeah.
look the same to
Yeah, that's
everybody,
exactly what I was getting at. Is it
you're
was
gonna
like,
stand. He's gonna
they
wear your shirt and sit in a tree.
don't look like each other, but the old stolen shirt routine, like,
Abbott and Costello, huh?
because everybody knows
guessing.
that Carl Weathers owns that shirt.
Right.
Apparently,
Like,
there's
if you-
only one of those
If
shirts
you
in the
look
world.
at the tag on it, it says Action Jackson.
Specifically
Yeah.
manufactured for Action Jackson.
Yeah. So they give him his shirt, and now obviously he's
Action Jackson.
in disguise as Action
Black
Jackson.
and he's got a
It's
mustache.
fucking ridiculous. Which is symptomatically the most racist thing we've seen. That was
It was
they
a
all
racist
look the
thing.
same.
Somebody's
They
more
all look the
racist
same,
than us.
so as long
Somebody's
as he-
more racist than us.
As long as
Hey.
he wears your t-shirt, all these old fuckers at this black tie party are gonna be like, "That's Action Jackson. I've seen him in that t-shirt,
Up in that tree.
like all the monkeys should be."
Oh, boo.
Oh, sorry.
Boo.
Radio edit.
Oh.
But that's what old people would think. All the old white people there. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Not that I think that. I can tell the difference between the guy who bags my groceries.
Just dig yourself in there.
Oh god
neighbor.
damn it! Shut up!
Boy,
Did
it
you just say
smells
who
like
bags
shit.
my
It
groceries?
smells like shit.
You
in
know
this
who
fridge.
bags your groceries? A pimply-faced white kid.
No, her name is Anne.
And she smells of elderberry.
And she always wears these beautiful long earrings, and she has glasses, and she's very nice.
Oh, boy.
And on that bombshell, so they raid the party.
How do you like your ribs?
I don't.
Because that's what he says.
Right.
He blows the guy up, and then you
Just
see ribs, and you're at the party.
Yeah.
That was a nice
so
segue.
yeah, we moved on. So shitty fake Action Jackson's up in the tree. Action Jackson swings a la Errol Flynn via Christmas lights into him, and he gets electrocuted.
He doesn't even swing into him. He sort of swings and then lands like 10 feet away from the tree on the ground.
But he gets
But
electrocuted
the tension
by Christmas
from it
lights.
causes the electrocution.
Super 10,000 volts. There's like 12. 10,000 volts, electrocuted, and then he falls into
Onto a wrought iron fence.
We're to infer. Again, to infer. I
Well,
don't
he's
know.
got stuff sticking
He
to him.
has stuff
Yeah.
sticking out of him.
And he grabs Action Jackson,
Which
and
is
he tries
totally-
to walk by, and he's like,
So
like
they
elongates his
When
death
he
scene a little
grabs
bit.
Action Jackson as he's impaled, I was like, there's so much of this movie that's unnecessary, but this has been the most unnecessary thing that has happened.
Right, like he wanted
Yeah.
to have a death
Why
scene.
even bother with
I
that?
don't even know. So party over, man.
Party up.
Oh, actually, no, we fucked it up because the kid that's the thief gets back in the movie again.
Right, and he's got a suit on, and he is.
Why do we have to talk about this kid?
Because
he's
we
part of the
set
movie.
this up and we were going to explain this later. And when
Right,
there's no
he comes
explaining
back.
it. Because he's like, you got to run now.
Right.
Like he's going to save
He's the decoy.
the guy or something, but he doesn't.
No, he
just
does
sort
not.
of runs
That's right.
around and knocks some people. He serves no purpose throughout the film.
That's right. But the old-time boxer that we talked about earlier,
He
in the
punches
hotel,
karate guy.
We
and
can't
Mr.
understand.
Ed are both in the food buffet line
Mr.
at
Ed's
this
again,
party.
fucking everybody up.
And those two, once the shit breaks loose and after fake Action Jackson gets shocked out of the tree, they turn around and they start fucking fighting.
Beating everybody up.
And
Doing most of the heavy lifting.
Most of the
and
heavy
so,
lifting.
you know, the old boxer guy, he's going up against Chinese limo driver guy. And the Chinese limo driver, oh, yeah. And he's like, does the foot shuffle and then punches him in the face.
Dumbest trick in the book. Dumbest trick.
Punches him in the face.
The old left
knocks him in the
windmill
window.
followed by the right hook.
And then he turns around, and then there's some guy on the police force that knows Action Jackson. He's like, "You're blah blah blah, the famous American boxer." He's like, "Yes, I am." Cha-ching, and winks at him.
Wink, gun.
Right, and then Action Jackson comes over, and he's like, "I'm blah blah blah." And then the window gets broken out, and the whore's up there, and she's screaming. The druggies
Oh, they've got me! They've got me!
And then
And
the
Ray T. Nelson's
police,
got her.
the police guy's like, I should put you under arrest. And he's like, are you gonna? And he's like, fuck it. And then he
and
throws
hands
him a gun.
gun.
And then he gets into the Fiero.
Alright, right.
And this is where it
Climax.
Climax.
Fiero.
earlier
Right,
in the
because
earlier in
earlier-
the film we see a commercial for the Fiero.
We're
It's
gonna
called
get
something
into
else.
that. We're gonna get into that. But he drives the car up
In-
the house.
Yeah, he drives
This
it
is a house.
through
not
the
A
front
mansion
doors.
house, so it's got a bigger stairwell than your average.
Do they? Do they?
Yes, they do.
They've got
Can
6
you
foot wide
drive a
hallways.
Fiero? Can you drive a Fiero?
Sure, why not? It's a mansion, people. It's a mansion.
It's
Three
a Fiero.
stories up. 3 stories up.
Yeah.
How many hallways have you been in that are 6 feet wide?
I haven't, but it's a
How many
smooth,
Fieros have you
fucking
been
pair.
in? Usually they don't even start.
Hey-o! Hey-o! Climb stairs. So anyways, he drives the car up to the 3rd floor. Taco's a guy, and then tries to taco Craig D. Nelson. This is his plan. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to drive this car through the whole house, hoping that I end up where Craig T.
No,
Nelson's
it's not
out.
like-
And then I hope that I run him over and nobody
He
else
knows
dies.
exactly where he's going,
Okay, but wait.
which is ridiculous.
Let me stop this right here before we get to the end of the movie.
Okay.
When he drives into the hotel room, we see Craig T. Nelson injecting crack whore lady with another injection.
Doing her a favor.
He was gonna
she
OD
wants.
her.
That's what she's there
so
for.
he's already injected her
Fill
with
me up.
some
Fuck
drugs.
No, he hasn't. He never got to it because he was gonna OD her. He was gonna kill her with the drugs.
She's not mad to be kidnapped. She's like, wait, you're gonna fucking fill me up with my fix? Woohoo!
But it was the lethal dose.
This is the best party I've ever been to. Crackheads don't fucking care, man.
She
Give it all
had
to
kicked the
them.
habit. She's ready to be
Like,
a
by
good
like
woman
5 hours at
by
that point.
Action Jackson.
Yeah, she hasn't even gotten the
She's
BTs
ready
yet. She's ready to go.
She's ready for the divorce
So
proceedings 2
he-
years later.
Yeah,
He
over the top.
crashes-
Meet me halfway.
He crashes through the fucking door in a car, misses Craig T. Nelson.
And
Driving
hooker.
up the stairs was about as ridiculous as I've seen it. Because, like, it shows him get to the landing, like, yep, you're not, the turning radius, even on a Fiero. Not making the landing on the
No.
stairs.
So-
That was a little unbelievable.
So he crashes through the door, misses Craig T. Nelson,
and Vanity. 'cause
and
she's
Vanity.
on the bed.
So then they have to get into a standoff, a Mexican standoff, where Craig T. Nelson just decides to put his gun down for some reason.
Because he's
he's
gonna
got
fight like a
Vanity
lion.
held hostage. He's in the catbird seat. She's held hostage. It's fucking Action Jackson's turn to put his gun down, in my opinion. That's
Yeah.
what I would do. And Craig T. Nelson's like, you know what? I'll put my gun down. We're going to fisticuffs it.
Right, and that brings it back to the point that I was saying that he was already prepared for this because he did karate.
Because of his silver
in his-
hair karate
Dockers.
training.
No, he did karate in his pantsuit.
Now he's
with-
in a shitty tux
Yeah, so he's
prepped
ready.
for karate. Well, now the coin's flipped. Action Jackson's in the catbird seat. Craig T. Nelson's got a gun pointed at him, and Vanity's like, shoot him! What the fuck are you doing, you stupid asshole? I've got all the drugs I could ever need. Just shoot him, we're done. Movie over, but he doesn't. He puts the gun down, and they have to get into fisticuffs.
And I think he puts the gun down like on a nightstand, but later he picks it up off the top of the car.
Nice. That's good editing.
No, Craig T. Nelson puts it on a nightstand, and Action Jackson puts his on top of the car.
Well, either way, they get into a fist fight, a karate fight,
karate,
what you will, that ends in them picking up their guns and shooting at each other.
And Greedo shot first.
And Greedo shoots first. Dumb. The movie's over. That's the end of the movie.
Well, until Vanity says that she's no longer a drug addict.
You're no longer
and ready to be a good
then
woman.
They kiss.
Hi, Action Jackson.
Then they kiss.
And love is
and you were absolutely right on the .5 episode that we're to infer that they live happily ever after until they go to divorce court.
And
which happened
the
here
police
first.
chief comes in and he's like,
I was also in Vietnam.
Action Jackson. And he's like, and Biff is like, Lieutenant. And he's like, yeah, that's right. You get your lieutenant stripes back. And so they re-promote him because he's just such a badass and he has broken this case.
Well, here's what we're going to do on Stinker Madness. We're going to wrap this episode up with trying our very best to explain to you what this movie was about. Plot summaries.
Right.
By Stinker Madness.
And this is what I brought up earlier is because through a majority of this movie...
Why don't you go first? Because you're just dying to do it.
I was so confused about what was going on.
We all were. Okay.
So this is what I wrote. It was about the Automobile League Alliance power struggle, which caused two balls to be kept in a china cupboard. Sharon Stone to get shot, and then we get to see her boobs again. This movie was also about jumping over cars and hooking up with singer ladies who show their boobs all the time and have a serious crack addiction. But in the end, it's all right because Action Jackson keeps his balls and the druggie gets clean and they live happily ever after.
What was the movie about?
I just said.
No, that's what happened.
Balls in a china cupboard and American
That's what happened. Not what it was about. What do you got for me, Sam?
Everybody in Detroit is a dickhead. A guy who makes Fieros has got some big plans.
Okay.
A guy who used to play for the Raiders shoots the Fiero guy because he likes a girl who doesn't sing too good.
That's it.
Good. That's a good plot synopsis. I've got Craig T. Nelson wants to rebadge Fieros and pawn them off as new cars, but the SEC isn't having it, so he starts killing them off with ninjas. Action Jackson is a copyright attorney who represents Chevy and has to shut him down. Sydney Ash is just a whore.
Wow. Those were three very different paragraph summaries.
Now, hold on. I have to do this. I have to do this.
Could you talk more towards us?
I will as soon as I can get to where I need to be. This is the actual plot synopsis for Action Jackson. Give me just a moment here. Just a moment. Plot summary. This is gonna blow your guys' fucking mind. Soon as I can find it.
That's it.
Where?
You just have to go down. Just keep scrolling.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Jericho Action Jackson is a Detroit police sergeant who is demoted from lieutenant for almost tearing the arm off of a sexually violent sociopath, Sean Delaplane.
His name was Sean?
Whose father is Peter Delaplane, a major car manufacturer. But Delaplane himself is violent as well. Delaplane kills his wife, Patrice, by shooting her, and then he plants her body in Jackson's apartment, framing Jackson. Delaplane won't miss Patrice very much because he has a drug-addicted mistress named Sydney Ash. She keeps Sydney Ash hooked up with a free supply of heroin. Jackson suspects Delaplane of masterminding a murder spree against local officials from the Auto Workers Union. Delaplane's mission is to gain a political power base and choose the next president of the United States.
Oh.
Because of what happened to Delaplane's son, Sean, Delaplane has taken a particular dislike to Jackson. Jackson gets Sydney's help in going after Delaplane.
That's right, because Delaplane's son was a rapist. A serial rapist in this movie.
I didn't know that at all.
This guy must have read
Sean
the first draft of the
Delaplane?
script that didn't make it into the movie.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Would you guys recommend it?
Yeah.
No.
Are you fully yeah? Fuck yeah?
I'm not fuck yeah.
Okay.
The sequences of the action sequences, though few and far between, are worth seeing.
No.
Jackie's a no.
No.
No. I am a yes, only if you are trying to complete your 80s action movie tour.
I've waited 20 years to see it, and I'm glad I finally saw it.
Other than that, don't do it. Don't do it. It's really not that good. And on that bombshell, who wants to take us out?
Get to the chopper!
Get to the chopper!
Get to the chopper!